and we're off. It was a bit tricky getting away from that mooring spot because I think the level of the canal had dropped overnight and we'd sort of bottomed out. We were just sitting on the bottom there, so it was quite tough pulling away. Anyway, we're back out on the canal. If you're new to the channel, welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back. Today it's another windy one, and I'm wearing my old hat because I don't want to lose my new hat into the canal. And the sun comes out occasionally, and I just need a bit of sort of protection from the sun. Mind you, if this flap keeps going like this, I'm going to take it off. It's really annoying. So, plan today is to cruise on down through Fenny Compton, and then through the Fenny Compton Tunnel, and then find somewhere to moor up before Claydon Top Lock. So not a long cruise, just a couple of hours or so, I guess, and then we're more up for lunch. I'll most probably spend the night there as usual, and then continue on the next day. Anyway, another glorious day in terms of we've got a bit of sunshine, a few dark clouds floating around. Very windy again. We seem to have had sort of 3 or 4 days of this sort of really strong wind now. It's swung around a bit, but it's still quite blowing, making steering a bit of a challenge. Hopefully you can hear me on the video, on the mic above all of the wind sounds. Not a lot I can do about it. Sorry about that. I've got a dead cat muff thing on the microphone, and hopefully that will be able to do something with all these wind sounds. Okay, just coming up to my favourite turn, which is Bridge 131, right on the apex of a really tight turn. It's amazing here how the canal almost seems to vanish on you. It's such a tight turn into this bridge. Incredibly tight turn. Bit of power there. Am I going to make it around? Walked over this bridge yesterday on our way up to Wormington. It takes you up, if you follow the footpath, through the medieval village, or the remains of the medieval village, which is basically just a series of mounds in a field. Anyway, got through Bridge 131. All I need to do now is survive coming out the other side of it. Interestingly, a lot of the footpaths around here are very, very poorly marked and very poorly maintained. Stiles have been shockingly bad, and on a number of occasions I've ended up in fields where there's no clear sign of the footpath. It's just grass or crops going across it. You've sort of either got to pick your way through crops or work your way around the edge of the field. It's quite challenging, shall we say. Actually, stand corrected, it didn't walk over that bridge yesterday, it's the next one up. So we didn't walk over Bridge 131, I think it's the next one up. I think it's the next one up we walked through. Well, not through, across. And that takes you up past the ruins of the medieval village, the old town of Wormington. In fact, it's called the Old Town Bridge, I believe. Another odd looking bridge on the Oxford Canal. There's that one down by the HS2 work, and then there's this one here, sort of sister bridges almost. Morning. I wonder if my super secret camera shy lock helper will be bringing me a cup of tea today. Hopefully it will come with a club biscuit. Who knows? The suspense is killing me. Well, look what's just arrived, the tea. Didn't get a club biscuit with it though. Don't know quite what to make of that. Oh, fantastic. Oh, brilliant. Okay, I seem to have been suffering from some sort of weird bridge failure to recognise syndrome. I don't know what it's called, but this is bridge 133. This is actually the one we crossed over yesterday on the footpaths, and as I said about an earlier bridge, but I will say it here now, I may probably drop the video from the earlier bridge, is that we walked over this bridge and getting to it was really tricky. Footpaths are very, very poorly marked around here. Stiles are in bad order, and you very rarely sort of get a clear indication across a field of crops or through anywhere through a farmyard as to actually where the footpath is and where it actually goes, and it can be a bit tricky. But anyway, we crossed over this bridge having walked across a few sort of anonymous fields with no markings, and then that is the Old Town Bridge, because just here in the field, and I doubt you can hear me above the wind now, just here in the field is the site of the medieval village of Wormington. And I'm going to probably say more about that village in another video, but it was sort of abandoned a good 300-400 years ago, possibly even longer than that. And if you look out in the field now, what you can see is earthworks from the village, and sort of when you walk through there or you look at a map, you can pick out sort of possible roads or possible building platforms, but it's quite interesting to see. When you look at the map, you'll also see that the village, the sort of manor houses at the top there, that's got a very interesting history as well, and I'm going to probably say more about that either in this video or a later video. But anyway, that is the site on this very, very windy day of the abandoned village of Wormington. It's the old town of Wormington. Well, that's us through Fenny Compton. A lot of moored boats there. Now heading towards the world famous deep, dark, dank Fenny Compton Tunnel. And for the first time today, I've got a boat in front of me. So, off to the tunnel.
So we're now approaching the Fenny Compton Tunnel. Now this is marked as a tunnel on the map, but there is no tunnel there now. There was originally a tunnel when the canal was first built, but it was a real bottleneck to traffic. So the tunnel was removed in two phases. First they sort of took bits off the end and a chunk out of the middle, and then after that they removed the whole of the tunnel. Now as you go through this tunnel that no longer exists, you can still see signs of the tunnel if you know where to look. And if you want to know more about this, I've made a full video about it, and the link to that is available in the description. Now before I get accused of speeding, this is the trip through the tunnel played at 10 times the actual speed that I went through. So I'm not speeding here. As you go through the tunnel, you come to the first bridge. This is an old farm bridge, no longer really in use. And as you go along, you then come to the crossover bridge where the towpath moves from one side of the tunnel to the other. And this is the crossover bridge just coming up now. And that is immediately followed by a road bridge. Now just beyond the road bridge, this is where they opened out the middle section early on. Now this is the middle section of the tunnel. So when they were removing the tunnel during phase one, when they sort of removed bits of the end, they also took out the central section of the tunnel, widened it here and built a wharf so that bricks could be loaded from a brick kiln, which was up on the left, onto boats to be taken down the Oxford Canal. This middle section makes a very, very handy place for passing other boats because most of the tunnel is too narrow for boats to pass each other. Now in this middle part I came across this narrowboat that was stuck on the bank. It had managed to sort of ground itself. You can see it there. It's on quite a sort of angle, and they really had to work hard to free this boat. Little did I know that at the time this was a sort of foretaste of the summer to come, with the canal levels being really, really low and boats getting stuck in numerous places. This was just a few weeks before the Oxford Canal closed for several months. Anyway, as you'll see, they finally managed to get the boat free and continue on down the tunnel. So now I'm going to go back to 10 times speed for the rest of the tunnel, so please don't accuse me of speeding. Now back to 1 times speed. This is my narrowboat moving at tickover, and at tickover I've been accused of going too fast, and in one of my earlier videos I got some comments from people that I was going far too fast down a canal because of the wash behind me. And this is my boat in tickover. As you can see here, in tickover I get overtaken by people walking along the towpath, and these people are not really walking that fast. So at tickover I must be doing about 2 miles an hour, I would guess, but as you can see it's certainly slower than walking pace. As I emerged from the tunnel, I found that a fellow boater had waited for me to get through the most narrow part of the tunnel. Most kind of them.
Thank you, well driven, appreciate the wait. So tight through there, it's really shallow.
After the tunnel you come across Bridge 139, and little did I know at the time that I was going to become very familiar with this bridge, and I would end up walking across it numerous times during the summer and into the autumn to visit the Wormington Reservoir, which is just on the left. The Wormington Reservoir is a major feeder reservoir into the canal, and this one ran out of water pretty much over the summer, hence the reason why the canal had to close. And then finally the only lift bridge of the whole trip. Now for some reason I get very nervous going through these. I'm convinced that it's either going to take the exhaust off the top of the boat or I'm going to hit the sides, because these lift bridges are frighteningly narrow. But got through that one successfully, no collisions.
Okay, so that's us moored up for certainly lunch and most probably the night. Now, if you've watched this far, thank you very much for watching, and if you've enjoyed what you've seen, please give it a big thumbs up, a big like, because that all helps the channel. And if you haven't done so already, please consider subscribing. Now, on the screen you will see a QR code that will take you through, if you scan it, to a newsletter about the grey wagtail. The link is also in the description. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.